This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time!
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah!
I finished these fights.
Give me a hell yeah!
Top Rope Nation.
Learn to love it! It's the best thing going today.
What's going on, guys? This is episode 199 of Top Rope Nation, a real special show for you. We've got the fantasy draft back for you. We did 3 of these last summer. They were all kind of a hit with the listeners, and we thought we would be doing them maybe once a month, maybe once every other month. Turns out it's been about 6 months, but it's WrestleMania season, so we put one together. Like I said, this is 199, so this is kind of setting the stage for the big episode 200 next week, which we're really looking forward to. We'll talk more about that at the end of the show. But before we get going here, I want to introduce everyone that's on the call tonight, because I have the usual 2 co-hosts, and then we got a special guest with us. So before I throw it to the special guest, Justin and Kyle, we had quite the show on Sunday evening. We are now recording as AEW Dynamite is about to go off the air. So they've done their best to explain what happened with Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston at the end of the broadcast there on Revolution. But Justin, how's your spirits tonight in comparison with Sunday night? How you doing, man?
I already hate my draft. I already hate it.
Selling this thing hard.
It's already gone horribly.
Go ahead and tune out, people. Oh man, it's going to be difficult. We'll explain the rules. It's pretty wide ranging, though. It'll get you in the mood for WrestleMania. It'll get you in the mood to go back and relive some of these old matches on the network while you still can. Kyle Ross, on that note, how are you doing? Are you making use of your long-lasting WWE archive that you've had for the last 7 years? It's about to get pretty bare bones for a few months.
Yeah, trying to cram in the last bit of world class that I haven't watched. I'll tell you that much right there. But I have 2 comments I would like to make at the opening here, Mr. Speaker of the House. Number 1, this is the week, and I always love to talk old stuff, as the listeners know, but this is definitely a week I'm glad we're talking about old stuff, because my spirit, anyone who listened to that show Sunday night knows, is rather broken right now with 2021 professional wrestling. And number 2, Justin Joint was the one who came up with this specific draft idea. And when we were planning out when we would be recording this, dare I say he almost seemed a little perturbed when I said, I can go whenever. I don't need any more prep time. Justin, let me tell you right now, I've been preparing 30 years for this podcast, buddy.
If Kyle doesn't win this draft, man, something is wrong, right? Mm-hmm. And since it's a pretty special draft, I think this is going to be a really fun one. We wanted to get a guest on the line. We've had guests for the other 3 drafts that we did. I was trying to think back. We did the Ric Flair draft. I think we had Nick Diaz from Veterans Minimum from the Blue Wire Network. He was on that show with us. We had Alfred Konuwa from Forbes on our Undertaker draft. And then we had our good friend Liam O'Rourke on our SummerSlam's Greatest Matches draft. So that was June, July, and August. Now for tonight, we went out and we got ourselves a big-time star. As I was selling this, as he rolls his eyes, as I was selling this on Sunday night, I even said to the listeners, now this guy was recently on a billboard in Times Square. It's our good buddy from Twitch, GameStop TV, longtime friend of mine, Adrian F.E. Okaydrian. What's going on?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Last time we spoke was I had you on the show about the AEW video game news, like right after they did that announcement on YouTube.
And the funny thing is, we've had the exact same amount of news from that point till now. How about that?
I haven't learned much else since then.
Nothing's changed since then.
I guess we got you back on a little earlier than you went. Your first appearance on the show was about a year before that. And after the AEW video game show, I said, well, we'll get you back on a little bit sooner. And I assumed it was going to be to talk about video game news. But that hasn't happened, as you said. So we're here for the draft. I think you'll be great on this show. You're a long time fan. Like I told the listeners the first time you were on the show, we met each other in, 1998, taking part in an E-Fed back in the internet's infant days, I guess, when E-Feds were really big. So
it was a glorious day. And it was funny, too, because meeting you was it sucks. One of the best moments of my life. Because I had just left an E-Fed that was based on quantity, where a dude named Sid Vicious, role-playing obviously, was champion because he'd put out like these 4 million text messages that were just, I'm going to beat you and I'm going to beat you. You can't stop me. I'm going to beat you. And I got a chair and I'm going to beat you. And 8 emails a day like that, he's going to stay champion. But with you, we actually have to do quality in our Fed. It was about the actual interview process. That was a great turning point in my life.
We were very competitive in that. If you guys don't know what this is, basically you would like write up role plays. It'd be like your wrestler giving a promo, and whoever wrote the best role plays would win the match. And honest to God, I think that experience in E-Feds back when I was 15 years old made me like a way better writer than I was to that point in time. And, obviously got into writing a little bit, covering the wrestling industry. And I don't know that I would have been doing that without the E-Fed experience. And, hey, made a really good friend out of it. Longtime friend, over 20 years now. Hard to believe. So I was telling the other guys, Adrian, you're a longtime fan. You're pretty similar to us. You've been watching since childhood. You have a good knowledge on the history of the wrestling industry. So I think you'll be a great addition on this draft.
Yeah, man, I love wrestling, and any chance to get to talk about it, I'm happy. I don't really care about conversations in public, but if someone just mentions 3 initials, I'm like, what'd you say? Who? What match?
You're a wrestling fan? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much.
We get it. So, Justin, you came up with the concept. So do you want to explain to the listeners what the rules are? Because this is going to be a 5-round fantasy draft centered on WrestleMania. Now explain the types of matches that we're going to be picking tonight.
Yeah, so unlike our other ones where we just kind of pick our favorite or what we think are the best matches, this time around we have 5 categories that we're each one. So the first one is a world title match. Second is an intercontinental or United States title if you're a psychopath. Next, we have tag match. Because when I originally was putting this together, I had tag title match. But if you give it even 2 minutes of thought, you realize, I'm going to give this to Kyle. Kyle, when you think about the history of tag title matches at WrestleMania, what do you think?
It's not fucking good.
There it is. There it is.
Oh, so for tag match, it can be any kind of tag match. Then we have a non-title singles match, which, give it any thought, that's the majority of the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, wild card, where you can take anything you want.
All right. So, yeah, we'll do 5 rounds. It's snake style. We did a lottery just before we went on the air to decide the draft order. The draft order is going to be Kyle picking first, Adrian number 2, me 3, Justin 4. Yeah, tough spot there. But he gets 2 picks in a row. So there you go. Maybe that'll help you boost your draft. You'll have 2 picks on the board before any of the rest of us. Maybe that'll help out. But before we get to it, guys, we're going to start with round 1 here in just a second. Let's get the plugs out of the way. This show is airing on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TopRopeNation. If you want to help out the show, head on over to youtube.com/TopRopeNation. Subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Of course, we're also available wherever podcasts are found. You can find the show on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Podbean, anywhere you find podcasts, topropenation.com. And like I said at the top of the show, next week is going to be episode 200, and it's going to be a mailbag show. So if you want to get those questions in, the entire show is just going to be dictated by the listeners. Whatever you want to hear us talk about, old wrestling, new wrestling, get those questions in. The history of the show, whatever you want it to be. topropenation@gmail.com is the email address. If we read your question on the air during episode 200, I will send you a free Top Rope Nation sticker in the mail. Another place you can get those questions in, I will have a thread going on our Facebook discussion group. So go to facebook.com, search Top Rope Nation Pro Wrestling Discussion, and you can find the thread there. And then just in the comments, leave a question. I'll pick from there too for episode 200 next week. So with all that being said, round number 1 of the WrestleMania fantasy draft. Over to you, Kyle. What do you got?
Well, I don't think there's any need to overthink this one. I am taking the number 1 match on my board, as I am able to. Bret Hart, Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13 submission match. This is my non-title singles match.
Already wrote it on my draft board. I knew that's what you were gonna pick. We've all said that that's our favorite WrestleMania match of all time. So I pretty much figured that's what was gonna go. Nice choice.
Best match in company history.
Easily an argument for that. I probably would have picked it if I was number 1. So I can't disagree there. All right, go ahead, Adrian.
You know what's funny is that number 2 I picked because I think it's the best of this category, not because it's the best match. I think there are plenty of good matches to choose from overall, but I want to get tag team matches out of the way because I don't want to deal with tag team matches, because I agree, they're atrocious. They have a bad history at WrestleMania. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go with Tyson Kidd and Cesaro versus Los Matadors, New Day and Usos at 31. And the reason why is because I love Tyson Kidd growing up. Don't get a lot of chance to see him. And with Cesaro, he was at his happiest. And Usos, I mean, they've been decent always, but back in that day, they were really, really cooking. Like, they were really doing good stuff. Los Matadores, give and take, whatever gimmick they have at any time, it's whatever. But that was such an exciting and fun match to watch. And across all the tag team title matches I can think of, that's one where I'm like, you know what? I think I'd actually open Mania with this match just to get everyone in the mood of out of my seat. And there's got to be something else better coming later on, because the truth is, there is, because it's not this.
Dude, 31 was a great WrestleMania. We've said on the show, top to bottom, probably the last great WrestleMania show, I think. In fact, WrestleMania 31 is in our poll right now on our Patreon page to possibly be the next edition of Top Rope Nation Classics, our Patreon bonus show. But yeah, I liked the Kid Cesaro tag team quite a bit. But I'd say this is number 2 overall. I didn't expect you to pick that one.
I'm in shock.
Changing the ball game. He's throwing us off.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say from there. I'm shocked. That wasn't on my format sheet, Tony.
If you're watching the show on YouTube, not only do you see the look of shock on Kyle's face, but you could also be seeing in the background of Adrian's video feed, he has WCW Revenge going on his TV. That is freaking awesome. I just realized that. Nice touch.
Revenge so much. I love it more than No Mercy.
Souping up our video feed. All right, so we got the WrestleMania 31 triple threat tag team match at number 2. We've got Kyle with Bret and Austin at number 1. So number 3 overall, guys, I will be taking probably the most legendary IC title match of all time in WrestleMania history. Randy Savage, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I think it's a match that kids grew up idolizing, our age, current wrestlers. Chris Jericho, who noted in his book that he reenacted that match hundreds of times in his basement, move for move, had the match memorized. Those guys also had the match memorized, if you've heard the story. Randy Savage was a freak about this. He had scripted the entire match in a notebook, line by line, and would call out numbers to Steamboat in advance of the match and ask him what the move was. So it's so smooth because they had rehearsed it like crazy. So I think I'm happy to get that one at number 3. IC title matches were definitely kind of my weaker area in perspective matches for this draft. So
wow.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit in shock. I think things have fallen into Justin Joint's lap, quite frankly.
Justin, are you feeling more confident, or are you shaking up a little bit?
You're muted for sure. This draft is off to a very auspicious start.
Damn it, I was coughing earlier.
All right, what do you got? And then end in the first round.
Oh shit. All right. Boy, I'm that tag match really threw me off.
Perfect.
That's the strategy. Yes.
All according to plan.
Yes.
Well, I'm feeling a little bit better about things. I'm going to take, what Cody Rhodes calls the greatest match in wrestling history. The match itself is okay, but it's arguably the hottest crowd in wrestling history. For non-title singles match, I'm taking Rock versus Hogan, WrestleMania X8.
I do not understand what is happening in this draft. Remember I texted you guys that
yes.
if I don't know what to say. I've had 2 matches go that weren't on my board, and one that I thought was going to fall to me.
Dude, I thought so. That was my 4th match. We were texting before the show, Adrian,
What?
and I said there's like 4 matches I think that'll go in the first round, and I said like 3 I thought for sure, and then there was a 4th that I was maybe on, and it was this one and another one, which I'll tell you later because I don't want to talk about matches that haven't been picked yet. But yes.
I am in shock right now. This is shocking. I feel like that scene from High Fidelity.
All right, Justin, you got the first pick in round number 2. Where are you going now? So you've got your non-title match out of the way. Where are you going for the second round?
Well, I had a couple Hogan matches earmarked that I was kind of maybe saving for surprises later on. But I just would not feel good about myself if I had like more than one Hogan match. So I got to switch up my strategy a little bit. And I'm going to knock out one of the weaker categories with one of the more famous matches of all time. I'm going to pick the second Intercontinental match of all time, HBK versus Razor Ramon, WrestleMania 10. Ladder match. It's... especially for younger folks, if you go back and view it, it probably doesn't seem all that exciting compared to today's stuff or a lot of the things that came after it, but it was truly groundbreaking at the time, and possibly more than any other match made Shawn Michaels.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, I showed that match recently to my 5-year-old. She was into it, so it aged well, at least for her. She hasn't seen a lot of wrestling yet, but, I mean, she really liked it. I still like it. Obviously, the match has got a lot crazier as the years went on, but to be the introductory ladder match for most fans during that era, it's just such a pivot point in wrestling history that there's always going to be that historical significance for it.
Now that I expected to go in that spot. So okay, there's some. I'm all of a sudden now the universe is spinning back on its back.
Ooh. All right. Well, I guess that...
Now it's back to you, Ryan. I don't know if you knew that.
I'm looking at my draft board to see if I want to go where I think I want to go.
Yeah, I'm convinced you're going to go a certain place here.
This is probably where you thought I was going in round 1, I'm guessing. It's going to be my non-title match selection. It's going to be Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker from WrestleMania 25, the first of the back-to-back Shawn Taker matches.
Piece of...
That was the one I thought about taking. Considered putting that in my wild card.
I had it number 2 on my board.
Yeah. Did you think that's where I was going in round 1, Kyle?
Maybe. I mean, when you were number 3, there was actually a different match that I expected. I like I said, it was number 2 on my board, and then there was another one I thought you would consider for that spot. But...
Yeah. All right.
What a great pick. What a great pick. That was my number 2 overall. I'm so angry with you. It's my favorite WrestleMania match of all time.
The listeners didn't hear this, but I actually screwed up the draft order. I'm gonna own up to it right now, and we had to go back and do the number 2 pick. So Adrian, if you would have been picking here, maybe you would have got it. So sorry about that. Because you would have been ahead of me in round 2. Yeah. Well, what do you got, Adrian? So here's your second pick.
Well, I mean, does it matter now? Everything's ruined. That was my next pick.
You could have picked it at number 2.
Yeah, true.
The tag match is still there. No one took it. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I agree with what we said earlier. I think there's so many good singles matches that I can kind of wait on that. And there are pretty good title matches for a world championship as well. So for me, I got to go down the route of Intercontinental US, and by what I mean by that is just Intercontinental, of course. And I've got to go with WrestleMania 8, Bret the Hitman Hart versus Roddy Piper. When I was growing up, I loved wrestling, right? The fanfare and everything else. And one of the first technical matches I saw in WWE was Steamboat and Savage, right? Which you kind of alluded about earlier and spoke about it and educated us. Thank you, edifying us. But when I think of later technicality, I think of Piper and older friends saying he was past his years and couldn't do it anymore. I remember really enjoying that match as a wrestling fan, watching the wrestling and the finish. I had never seen anything like that before in my entire life. The sleeper reversal, like you always thought of Hitman, you know, execution, technical wrestler. But when I saw that, I was like, man, Bret's not only good, he's really, really, really good. That made me even more of a wrestling fan than I was. So that's easy for me right there.
I like the pick. I initially thought I might be holding off on my IC title match pick for a while, and I thought that was probably the one that I would end up getting down the line. And I mean, that's probably number 2 or number 3 for me. I ended up getting Savage Steamboat, but that would have been high on my list too. The fact that they had blood in that match too was something that you didn't see so
Red
often.
Trick
back
the
then.
Office.
Yeah. So I love it. That's a great pick.
That's
What do-
definitely. Sorry. That's definitely the number 3 Intercontinental title match I had. I thought there was kind of a drop after those first 2. I was kind of secretly upset that Adrian picked that because I was hoping to hold off and get that myself, as he and I were the 2 that still needed the Intercontinental. Now I'm the only one that doesn't have one, and I'll straight up tell you guys, I'm just going to wait till the end at this point. So,
all right.
I am shocked some of the matches that are still on the board, by the way.
You thought
so
maybe you could kind of predict it, but not so much.
As Ryan and Kyle know, I like to throw on some wrestling in the background while we podcast. And when we started this podcast, the match I turned on was Bret and Rowdy from WrestleMania 8.
Nice. Very nice.
The banger.
Yeah.
Really good.
What do you got, Kyle?
Okay, this draft has been way more strategery than straight board than I anticipated. Like, I just had a board, and I'm like, all right, at certain points, maybe you consider the 2 weaker categories, IC and tag team, but I'm quite frankly a little shocked. I'm a little rattled, dare I say.
Taking you off your ball game.
Yeah. So I'm going to be kind of sucks that he took that Brett Piper match, because the IC, to be honest with you, I don't really love any other Intercontinental title matches. So I don't want a weak IC and a weak tag team. So for the tag, I'm going to get the tag team out of the way. I'm going to go with the TLC match at Mania 17, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, and the Hardys. Get that out of the way right there. I think certainly that's an all-timer.
Yeah.
And
I mean, wouldn't you say pretty easily the greatest WrestleMania tag team title match of all time?
I would say it was number 1 on my board. Yes. Yes, it was number 1 on my board. And is it better than the one at SummerSlam? I don't know. I felt that they did more stuff. I know at the time there was a sense of disappointment from the guys because they were in a bigger venue and it felt like the reactions weren't as lively as they were getting at SummerSlam. For the participants themselves, they felt a little down. But no, I think it still holds up. And really, it's after the TLC matches that I think, those guys set a standard that all future ladder matches really had trouble matching.
Yeah.
So I'll go with that.
Nice pick. And back-to-back years, they tore the house down for sure. So I'm sure we'll hear about the one a year earlier at some point in this draft as well, or I think we will, anyways.
So this is really weird, the position I'm in, because I'm looking at 2 categories, and both of them are way deeper than I expected they would be at this point. One of the categories just being straight up wild card.
Mm-hmm.
There is an extraordinarily good match that is on the board that I cannot believe either of my regular co-hosts has not taken. And because I think that another category, it's pretty close, and I'll wind up with something on the come around, I'm going to go with this just because it is by far the highest match left on my board. This is my wild card. Bret Hart, Owen Hart, WrestleMania 10.
Nice.
Fantastic match.
I would say besides Bret and Austin and besides Shawn and Taker, it's the best match in WrestleMania history. So
Ooh.
I'm very happy that I got 2 of my 3 best WrestleMania matches in my draft.
Was that one you thought I would take earlier?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
I thought you'd consider it with your first overall pick.
Yes. I thought about it. I won't lie. All right, that's a nice pick. Let me jot that down here. Okay, Adrian, what are you thinking?
Are you sure you don't want to hop in, Ryan? Make a pick real quick?
I'm sure. I've embarrassed myself enough for one night.
You might need to. That's a really good pick. Jesus.
Well, just wait until Kyle takes a match that's already been picked.
Oh yeah, that happened in our last draft, didn't it?
It was hammered. I'll tell you. Never mind. I won't make a joke. This is not the draft. I'm picking other ones, I think, so far, man. I am shocked at this draft.
I love the reaction.
It's hot, man. It's hot.
Oh, guys, this is so tough now. Take my IC match. Take my HB Taker match. I would never put 26 above 25. Ever.
Better build.
Yes.
Agreed?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like 25 overall is a match.
You do need a world title match, right?
The thing is, the pick that I want to pick, I like it. I don't know if I love it, though, versus the other ones that I have. You know what? I'm going to go for my regular singles match instead. Not even wild card, just regular singles match. I'm going to go with WrestleMania 22, Edge Foley, the hardcore match.
You fucker.
Yes. That's the kind of reaction that I want. I mean, that's me. It's a fun match, and it's a match that I went into, and I thought there's no way it's going to be the match that it's advertised to be, and it was everything it was expected to be. And I love the fact that Edge got the dub. I love everything that he went through. I love the build-up. I love the crowd. I love the entertainment value of it. It was a fun, just regular match to have on a card.
Yeah,
that is an underrated match, especially compared to a lot of matches you see like hyped as, all-timers. I would say it is better than both Triple H Undertaker matches, for the record. I really liked Edge at that point. I was, because I was like a lot of people. I thought he kind of got a raw deal having to drop his first title so quickly, right back to John Cena after a couple of weeks. And I was like, man, this guy deserved a longer run than that. But it worked out for him. He got that match, the big win at Mania, and he winds up as champion a few months later again. Of course, he loses to Cena not long after. But, I don't think, you look at how many world titles the guy wound up winning. I don't think anyone's weeping for him.
Yeah.
And my God, he is in the main event of WrestleMania 37.
All comes full circle, right?
All these years later, yes.
It's fun. I look at you bring up Triple H and Taker. When I watched that match, of course, the whole end of the era and all that stuff, and the reactions were great. But I genuinely felt something for Edge when I saw him out of his environment, suffering the entire match. Every reaction, every friction that he had was a genuine face that said, I don't know what I'm doing in this match. This sucks. It's painful. I don't need to be here. And he wins versus in Taker and Triple H. It felt like I've been here before. It doesn't make the match less enjoyable when I put them side by side. I'd rather watch this one.
I could not agree more with that assessment. I don't understand end of an era. I've said it before on this program. Don't understand the match. A lot of stuff going on, and it's all contradictory. Just two old guys whacking each other off.
I was in the
Three
building.
if you count HBK.
I was in the building for Mania 22. It's by far the match I remember the most. This is also in our vote for Top Rope Nation Classics. Could be the show we review here in a couple of weeks. And it's I got a great picture of the table, the flaming table spot that I took with my old digital camera. I have that picture printed out around here somewhere.
Nice.
But yeah, that was pretty freaking awesome moment during that WrestleMania. And I actually haven't watched the show like start to finish in quite a long time. So I'm gonna have to do that again. So I'm kind of hoping, I'm secretly hoping that is the that's the event that wins our Patreon vote, and we can go back and relive that show. All right. So okay, that leaves it to me, right? It is actually my turn this time. So looking where we're at right now, I've chose IC. I chose non-title, so I could go world title. I could go tags.
Or wild card. You could be like me. Just screw these categories, man.
Yeah. I I think I'm going to get my tag team match out of the way. I'm going to follow Kyle's lead. And I'm just going to go a year earlier to WrestleMania 2000, the Triangle Ladder match with Edge and Christian's victory over the Hardys and the Dudley Boys. I mean, that was an arena WrestleMania. They're at the Pond in Anaheim, I believe, for that show. And the Swanton in the entranceway that Jeff Hardy hit was incredibly memorable. I mean, I remember being pretty disappointed with this show start to finish. I watched it live on pay-per-view at one of my buddies' houses back in high school.
It's not a good WrestleMania.
It is not, but this is the high point of that WrestleMania easily. So yeah, I will go the Triangle Ladder match, WrestleMania 2000, get my tag title match off the board.
It is the only year, 2000, that you can safely say WrestleMania was the 5th best pay-per-view of the first 5 pay-per-views of the year.
Oh, yeah.
That's how hot 2000 was.
Mm-hmm. Hard to disagree. All right. So that gives it to Justin, who's biting his nails over there. He's not sure where to go now. Feel more confident, Justin, than you were at the beginning of the draft, or are you scrambling?
I'm still scrambling a little bit. I think I'm going to be the first person to take a world title match. I'm going to go with the one that probably would have gone down as one of the greatest matches of all time if the finish didn't get a little weird. I'm going to go Rockin' Austin from WrestleMania 17.
Okay. Nice.
It's interesting that no one had addressed that category until now. I think maybe compared to some of the other categories, you've got the same, everyone's probably got the same 4 or 5 they're considering, but they're very closely congested. Like if you were to throw all 5 matches out and say, okay, guys, rank these, the margin is real close, at least for me. I mean, I think, on my overall board, the 4 or 5 I had marked down would be ranked somewhere between 7 and 13 all time in Mania matches. That's how narrow it is.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think, for title matches, this is there's only a handful of them that I have thought about taking. I'd probably 3 that I thought about to this point. I consider this one just because the build was so awesome. You're right, Justin. The finish left a lot to be desired. We talked with Jim Ross about that last April in our interview with him, but it's freaking iconic. You look at the 3 matches that Rockin' Austin had at WrestleMania, and I think this is the best one.
And when we say the finish, it's just the handshake, or that there's no stunner, right? I mean, I actually loved him just going crazy with the steel chair to get the pin.
Yeah.
That's a good point. If they had done that and not the handshake with McMahon, is that okay? And and not a heel turn. That's the key. I mean, it's unbelievable. I think it was Chris Harrington, maybe. I was looking around on his site, as I often do, far too much. But there was a average house show attendance per month WWE he had for a long block. The drop from March to April in 2001 is stunning. What happened in April of 2001?
Well, this competition ended with WCW.
Yeah, Steve Austin heel turn. It was a business killing move, and it's again, people look at me cross-eyed. They think I'm crazy, but if someone was to ask you, "What's your favorite movie?" you probably wouldn't pick something that has a shitty ending.
Probably not.
And the movie that is called WrestleMania 17 in the world of pro wrestling has a bad ending, and it's why it's not my favorite WrestleMania of all time. Fight me.
I mean, yeah, it's a great show, but we always look back at that ending and are like, why they do that, especially in hindsight, looking at business, like you're saying. So
nobody looks back at that and says that was good anymore. No one. I mean, all the people involved, Steve Austin has come out and he took the heat for it. And you could kind of see where he was coming from, because back then you really wanted to do something spectacular, like every big show. It's not like now where, you're you're paying for like Fastlane. It's $10 a month, and you get even less than that in terms of quality on the show. I mean, they really, you had to do something special for WrestleMania. And Austin's like, people, I guess, are tired of me, as a baby face. Let's go. Now, I don't think there was any objective measure that indicated people were tired of him at that point.
Yeah.
I look at the buy rates when he came back. People didn't appear to be tired of him as a babyface.
Yeah.
I don't even recall getting my red knee brace as a DLC item in any game that I played afterwards.
Yeah.
Because I'm a bad guy now. I'm a heel knee brace.
Oh, God. All right. So, Justin, then you start round 4. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty now. What do you got?
I wanted to go back to world title just to maybe be an a-hole and take something off the board, make it a little bit more difficult for you guys since none of you have taken a world title match yet. The problem is I'm going to take my tag match, even though I'm 99% certain none of you guys would take this as your wild card. But just in case, if for some freaking reason you guys did, I would be absolutely screwed for tag matches. So I'm going to go Triple H and Stephanie versus Kurt Angle and one of the greatest wrestling debuts of all time, Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 34.
It's a great fucking pick for this category. I had it down. I wondered if anyone else had it down.
I had it on my list for tag. Yeah.
I just, because like the only other tag match I had down on here was WrestleMania 1, the Hogan, Mr. T, Piper.
I had that too. I wondered if anyone was going to go there. The most historically important match in company history.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I would have probably ended up going if for some reason somebody had taken the other one. But that tag match was the highlight of WrestleMania 34. Just incredibly laid out to kind of not only put over Ronda Rousey, but maybe hide Angle a little bit. But yeah, just terrific. Love that match.
Mm-hmm.
The match was so good that I secretly pretend Stephanie McMahon was studying Southern wrestling, like Southern tag team wrestling matches. Like all the heel tactics she was done. I was like, oh man, she had to bust out some territorial footage in preparation for the match, man.
It's a really good pick for not only the before, but also afterwards. It kept me interested in what was happening. I enjoyed the moment when Stephanie apologized to Ronda proudly, angrily, the same way Shane did recently on SmackDown. The whole like, I'm so sorry. Like that, like everything around that match from beginning to end to After Effect was good. Excellent pick.
Thank you.
Yeah. There was also 3 people from a very good podcast that were in the building that night that I know quite well, Kyle and Justin and myself.
Us. I didn't know.
Yeah, that was a highlight of that show for sure. I had that. I just checked my board again. That was my number 3 tag match behind 2000 and 2001. So nice pick in that position. All right, so this leaves me with I got to go world title or wild card at this point. Wow.
Some good matches on the board, man.
I'm really curious to see what world title matches you guys take. And there's still a lot of great singles matches out there.
I know. I'm terrified.
Don't do
this to me.
My non-title singles list is like massive. Just like, I'm looking down there that I could take one of those as my wild card now since I've already done non-title specifically.
I know, like I can't take any of those anymore. Like because I've burned through both non-title singles and wild card. There's so many more I would take.
Yeah, man, I feel like I gotta go from that category. There's so much top level. I gotta do my wild card right now, and I think I'm gonna have to go with. This is the hardest draft we've ever done by far. Every other draft we had, like I was ready to go. All right, I got my next pick. This one you really got to think about.
Yeah.
Good job, Justin, developing this draft concept.
You got to make your pick. You're gonna give Adrian a heart attack.
Yeah, dog. Like this, you're killing me.
All right, Savage Warrior, WrestleMania 7.
It's a great fucking pick.
It's a great match.
Yeah. Wild card.
Shit.
Savage Warrior, WrestleMania 7. I mean, Warrior's best match of his career, bar none, I think. Just incredibly memorable. Career on the line. The reunion with Liz that happens afterwards, obviously, with all the people in the crowd crying.
Adults were crying.
Adults crying in the crowd.
Like out of joy, not like now when adults are like weeping, like, oh my God, why did I flush $300 down the drain for this seat? But
yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that pick in round 4.
That's a great pick. I would absolutely consider it if I could even take it anymore. Like, I can't even take the match based on the way the draft has gone. Whomever came up with the idea of Warrior not running to the ring for that match, I just would love to embrace that person, because that was such a smart move. I don't know if it was.
Does that never come out?
No, I've always assumed it's got to be a Pat Patterson thing. God rest his soul. Like that's right. That's something that Pat would have, I just think, would have come up with. Either that or Savage is like, look, dude, I just don't want you blown up. Don't run. Like, that might be the other one. So it had to be one of those two. And it added, like, not only logistically did it add to the match, the fact that Warrior was not blown up 3 minutes into the match, but it made the match seem so much special. Because, like, Heenan called it out. Right? He's like, wait a minute, why is the Ultimate Warrior not running? That is such a neat little tidbit in that match.
I like to think that explains what Warrior does later in the match, is that he's blown up when he looks to the heavens and says, I get it. I know now what I must do. That's what he's saying.
I must never run to the ring again. I will never lose again. Yes. That's awesome. Oh, gosh.
Sherry Martel's performance in that match should not be undersold. Like, she is with her and Savage, that was a great act for 2 years, man. I mean, obviously, Savage and Liz was the iconic duo, but man, with Sherry, he didn't miss a beat. It was a totally different dynamic, how Liz would never get involved and Sherry would always get involved. Just God bless everyone all around that I just mentioned here.
They got me. As a young adult, as a kid, the scepter to the face. I was like, oh my God, their face. They're ruined.
Yeah.
The tinfoil scepter, yes.
Yes.
Was that the first match that Warrior wore the big coat out for?
Yes.
Because I can't remember him doing that before.
I don't know if that was his first time, but he definitely did it for that one.
Yeah. I don't know if that had anything to do with him. I mean, he would run out to the ring, I guess, later with the coat on. But I think if it was the first time, I don't know if that played into it or not.
And the tights with the title belt on it. It said means more than this.
Yeah.
What a great match.
That was good.
It's a good match.
All right, Adrian, what do you got?
Everyone else is saving world title for last, so I'm going to follow suit. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go with my my wild card. And this is tough for me because I love this match. The ending, it's funny you brought up ending earlier. I feel sour about this. Was good enough, but man, what a fun match. WrestleMania 21, Angle HBK. Was a fun ass match. I don't like, I mean, he's Mr. WrestleMania, I get it. I don't like Michaels being in the ankle lock for the better part of 22 minutes at the end. Like, for me, I'm like, okay, Olympic athlete, we got that sold. World-class athlete, we got that sold. Ankle locks a tapper, we got that sold. He got to the ropes, rolled away. He grapevine the leg. Give him like 15 seconds. You got to tap. This dude's 45 seconds deep. If we're playing SmackDown versus Raw, that meter's down here. He's already flashing red. And he's like, oh, I don't want to tap. I'm thinking to myself, you've got to be kidding me. If he gets out of this and super kicks with that foot, I may not watch wrestling again. But the match up to that point was a dream come true. Literally, I wanted to see Angle HBK at Mania, and I got it. And everything was what I wanted, except for that.
Yeah. I mean, the build of that match was so amazing. I think we've talked about it a lot on this show before, but everything with bringing back Marty Jannetty and Angle doing the HBK impression with Sherry. I mean, just great television leading up to that too. Good.
Adrian actually took my joke. I was going to say, a fun fact: Shawn Michaels is still not tapped out in that ankle lock. That was, but yeah, forget about playing a video game, man. I know that's your world, Adrian, but if that was a real fight, Shawn Michaels' leg would have been like just ripped in half. Had that been real, like that was so preposterous. Yes. But like, I and because Shawn still had a reputation at that time.
Yep.
I remember watching live. I'm like, this motherfucker's not getting out of this. I was just screaming at the TV, tap already, tap.
The best part was, like, for the next few weeks, maybe he had like a small limp. DDP had rib tape for years
Yes.
Right? And HBK is like, my ankle. Just kidding. Let's go. Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Kyle.
Well, since you guys still have world title matches to go, I'm absolutely taking mine. I have no choice. I have 2 in a row. These are my last 2 picks. I'm going, and I can't believe this is still on the board. I'll go Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 26.
You can't do that.
Why? It was a world title match.
Wait.
Oh, no, it wasn't. Was it?
No.
Oh, that's right. He cost him. Oh, my goodness. Okay, good. I'll take Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns.
All right.
That was simple enough. Oh, okay. I'll just...
Yeah.
He's got something in reserve, like in his brain at all times.
You know what's funny is when I was thinking about this draft today, I was like, oh shoot, that is a title match, and then it turns out it wasn't. No, that's right. I forgot that he caught. That's right. That was the whole deal. That he it was streak versus career. Yes. Oops, that's embarrassing.
I gotta say, I am way more jealous that you ended up with that world title match than I would have expected. That's a really good one.
All right, Kyle. Back to
Well,
back.
I have to pick an Intercontinental match. So I'll just go with I'll go with the Mania 31 ladder match with Daniel Bryan. I'll be honest with you. I don't even fucking remember who else was in the match.
I actually added that to my list right before we went on air, so I can tell you. Wade Barrett, R-Truth, Luke Harper, rest in peace, Dean Ambrose, and Stardust.
Stardust.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened to that guy?
So you got 3 AEW veterans there in that match.
I think you missed an opportunity there, Kyle. Not going to say what it is yet.
Everyone's picked the IC. You probably can.
Okay.
What do you think, Justin?
I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, wow.
Wait till the end? Okay. All right. Adrian, your final pick. What do you got?
I have 4 title matches here. I'm going to cross out this one. Because no. Which leaves me with these 3. 1 for surprise, 1 for wrestling, and 1 for impact. Jesus. Oh, actually, I can't pick that one because I picked them earlier. And unless we're doing the fake Diesel and fake Razor thing, we can't do that kind of matchup. So we're going to skip that, which leaves 2. Oh, this hurts my head, but I got to go with... This is so hard. Oh, man.
Man, we picked you for the hardest draft we've done.
No pressure. all of Twitter's going to judge you. No pressure.
Uh-oh.
First Reddit, now Twitter. You know what? I'm going to go with Fudge, man. I'm so angry right now.
I have no idea what I'm picking next, so take your time.
I've got 4 great options for the world title match.
You know what? I never thought I'd see it happen.
Have you ever thought about Undertaker, Shawn Michaels for Mania 26?
See,
so you have 4, so that's interesting. It's funny because, God, I'm an idiot that I convinced myself that was in there. I have fewer options now. You
need to quit talking about it because I could have edited that out, Kyle.
You know what?
I'm
gonna go for impact. I'm gonna go with Banks, Lynch, Charlotte, 32
Ooh.
overall. First ever women's match, and I never thought I'd live in my lifetime where I would see that take place. Overall, I love Sasha Banks and everything that she does, and seeing her at that point later on, it would be the same in a non-tag team title match, and a regular title match was something spectacular. The crowd reacting positively to it, seeing it happen, it was impactful, and it was a decent match. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything that's put into it, and I think that's how, because I already have Angle, HBK, Edge, Foley, Hitman, Piper, Cesaro, Kid, New Day, Usos. Like, I'm content with that being the nightcap and everything else. Top it all off. I am curious about my number 2 pick. If it's gonna be taken or not, because I have words about that, but I'll go with that one.
All right. Oh man. All right, I got 3 different matches that I'm considering here. And I might go with one that's just going to give me a match with somebody who I haven't picked a match of yet. So this is my world title selection.
Right?
Like there's 2 others that might be stronger, but like I want both of these guys on my draft board when I'm picturing the list or like the graphic I'm going to put up on our Twitter account where people vote on who won the draft. And I feel like I want these guys on. Actually, one of them I already have a match with him, but the other one I don't.
It's the right pick, Ryan.
He's my all-time favorite wrestler.
What?
So I'm going the Iron Man match from WrestleMania 12.
Very nice.
With
It's
Bret
not-
and Shawn.
It's not the right pick.
I know the match is very divisive. Some people hated it. Some people loved it. I loved it at the time. I haven't watched it in a really long time.
Imagine establishing a gimmick and an Iron Man gimmick and doing no falls in the 60 minutes.
Hey, well, Bret Hart calls it, he says it's on his Mount Rushmore. So who am I to doubt Bret Hart? I'll just use that to justify my pick.
Yeah. I understand that there were certain guns held at the back of his head from Full Sail University.
But I didn't have a Bret match. I had a Shawn match, obviously with Taker match, but no Bret match, and so I'll let Justin pick. But then there was 2 others I was considering, and I'll talk about it here in a second. What do you got, Justin?
Match,
Yeah, I'm looking at 5 matches here. I'm deciding between. I got 3 world title matches and 2 singles, and this is my wild card spot, so I can kind of pick whatever. Boy, this is a toughie because we have, especially for the world title matches, it's kind of more about the moment in the build and what it meant historically than maybe the match itself. Whereas the single matches, oh man, this is tough. Well, I guess I'm going to take that other famous world title match from WrestleMania 26. That'd be HBK versus The Undertaker.
Excellent choice.
Yeah. Right.
That's going to be my wild card. It is not as good as 25, but as we mentioned before, it's got a much better build. It had the entire streak versus career. And it's still like, even you say it's less than 25, it is still an incredible match, even though it's just kind of a sequel with a higher budget.
Mm-hmm.
I got it as the number 7 WrestleMania match ever. So even though I couldn't remember that it was for not the title.
Yeah, that was talked about during a Taker draft, and it's great match.
I think the fact that it went on last threw me off for a loop.
Adrian, man, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I don't know if you have a stream going on tonight or not. You probably do. You're streaming all the time. Let the listeners know where they can find you and what you got going on in the coming weeks.
Sure. Right now, I'll be streaming tonight. Usually it's around midnight Eastern. I start on twitch.tv/okaydrian, not okaydrian, not okdrian, not okaydrian. It's okaydrian. It's a portmanteau. I'll be there playing different games. I think tonight is Star Wars Squadrons, so that'll be fun. If you walk into a GameStop in the US, you'll see me on the TV there talking about video games whenever I get the chance for that. Also on Twitch Weekly, every 5 weeks on twitch.tv/Twitch Gaming. Talk about the latest gaming news. And honestly, on the internet, wherever wrestling's found. New Japan Cup is happening right now. I've been falling behind by about 2 days, so I got to get back and watching that. And I'll say it again. I love professional wrestling. I love NJPW, AEW, WCW, Rev Pro, Progress. If it's there, I want to watch it. Have you watched Riptide at all?
I have not.
I'm sorry, that came out of left field. I was just thinking about it. I saw it recently on YouTube, and their cinematography is incredible. It's a really fun new way to watch wrestling. Don't worry, I'm not sponsored by them. No plugs, anything else. It's just I saw that. And
what is that poster behind you, though?
Yeah. Believe me, that Riptide poster? Yeah, like it's really fun to watch. But any chance I get a chance to sit down people and just discuss wrestling and have fun discussing it, it makes me happy. You know, I feel like a lot of times when I'm on Twitter or on socials with friends, people talk too much about what they didn't like and the behind the scenes footage and who's mad at whom and who's not get booked properly. And I like just enjoying the spectacularity of wrestling, the spectacle itself. I like getting soaked into all that. So it makes me happy.
And Adrian is, of course, now a trillionaire through GameStop. Little known fact.
I did not invest when I was going to 2 years ago, and believe me, I'm quite sad.
So next time you're in a GameStop and you hear his voice, say, "Hey, I know that guy from Top Rope Nation." There you go. It's happened to me. I've been in a GameStop and I kind of like forgot for a second that it was on, and all of a sudden I hear my buddy's voice. I'm like, this is pretty cool. Adrian, you're a great advocate for wrestling. You're a great follow on Twitter. You can follow him at okaydrian. Definitely check out his Twitch streaming. His production value is through the roof. I mean, I actually turn it on once in a while when I'm like doing some work and just to see what you're doing on there and just kind of keep it on in the background. And you always do such an awesome job. It's a really smooth production. You learn a lot about just games in general watching you. And I appreciate anytime you come on the show. You've been a great friend over the years, and this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much. You can email the show for episode 200. Like I said earlier, topropenation@gmail.com. Next week, milestone show. Also check the podcast description of this show where you will find a phone number. We've set up a voicemail line where you can call in. We did this for episode 100. And say whatever you want. Give us your well wishes for episode 200. Let us know what you like about the show, a favorite episode, whatever you want. It can be brief, it can be lengthy, whatever you got in mind. But we're going to play those on the show as kind of like a special part of episode 200 on the pod next week. So again, check the podcast description for that call number. We would love to hear from you on the show. And Justin and Kyle, it's been a pleasure. This was a lot more fun than our Revolution post show the other night. More happy memories this time.
It's pretty fucking good, isn't it?
Yeah. This was a good show. All right. So follow the show on Twitter. It's at Top Rope Nation. We're on Instagram as well. Join that Top Rope Nation Pro Wrestling discussion group on Facebook. Daily posts going up from us and about 300 other people talking pro wrestling. We hope you all have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.
Peace.